I just bought the cheapest gimbal on Amazon, but is it any good? Today we're going to go over gimbals and stabilizers. There are so many on the market. We're going to talk a little bit about gimbals and what they mean and what they do for you. And then we're going to go over an unboxing of this specific one. And then afterwards, we're going to do a field test to see how this one actually performs when you're filming. So what do gimbals do and why are they important? Gimbals help you stabilize the footage that you capture while you're filming video. There are different types of gimbals out there. The main types are 2-axis and 3-axis gimbals. In essence, a 3-axis gimbal will give you more stable footage than a 2-axis gimbal. When you go on Amazon, you'll see those two different versions out for sale. And what I would recommend you do is that you stick with the 3-axis gimbals because that allows you to produce a better looking image. If you're going to be spending any money at all, then you go for one that you can use for the long run. In today's example, we're going to be going over a 3-axis gimbal that I found on Amazon. As of the time of this recording, this is the most affordable gimbal that is 3-axis on the market right now. The selection might be updated in the future, but this one stood around $57, which in the world of gimbals is very affordable. I personally use the DJI RS3 to film my listing videos. And the reason I use that is because it has a higher payload. This gimbal is rated for smartphones, so it has a lower maximum payload. However, for realtors who are just starting out, this is more than enough for what you'll need. We'll see. Let's go ahead and unbox this thing and see if it's any good. All right, look at that. So it's the Speedy XE. It comes in a pretty decent package, actually, and it doesn't look like it's that big. In fact, if this is an iPhone Pro Max, it looks like it should be able to hold that weight, but we're going to see for sure in a moment. I need a knife. So this is the box in all its glory. Let's go ahead and open it. So we open it up and we have a user manual. So this is the actual gimbal itself. It's lightweight, but it doesn't feel cheap. It also comes with this tripod attachment, so you can stand it up in between takes, which is actually pretty cool. And then, of course, you have your USB-C charger. So this is a USB-A to USB-C, but I'm assuming that it will work for any USB-C cable that you have available. This gimbal actually has some smart features that I think will come in handy as we're filming. You have your power button right over there. You have a joystick to be able to adjust its 3-axis movements. This might be the record button, and then this is probably to allow you to switch to different modes. So I'm gonna read the user manual so I can get a better idea of what these do. But it has some instructions here on the back. Want to take a look at that. Also has some more instructions over here. Phone camera on the left, clamp phone in the center. So I'm going to grab my phone and we're going to go ahead and set this up. So I have my iPhone 14 Pro Max here. If it works for this specific iPhone, then it should work for you. Before we put the phone on, I'm going to go ahead and read the user manual. So there's an actual tutorial that we can scan and watch.
In the box.
Okay, so the companion app is downloading as we speak. It says to balance the phone on the gimbal before we turn it on. The gimbal seems to be doing a good job at keeping the iPhone steady. So there we have that 3-axis gimbal, that 3-axis motion there that is going to be necessary for filming. There's also a button to switch from portrait to landscape. There we go. Look at that. So now we have full portrait control as well. You can see a little bit of that motor on the bottom right, but I think we can rectify that by lifting the camera up just a little higher so that that's not in frame. And boom, that kind of changed the balance a little bit. And look at that. That's good to go. That's really cool. So now you can do that. All right. I like it. So my initial thoughts without even using the companion app is that it's stable. The whole system is lightweight and it's travel friendly. My RS3 is so large that I can only bring it out onto professional shoots. But this, I can see it being useful if you're in a property, you just want to quickly shoot some video to post to your story or to social media. I think this will go very well. This is a pretty good gimbal, especially for the price that you're paying. Remember, that RS3 was over $500. I think the listing price right now is $549. This is only $57 on Amazon. I think that's a win. Now that we've initially balanced it, I'm going to open up the app and see what the app has to offer. It's giving me a notification that I'm able to pair this current gimbal to my Bluetooth. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and connect. All right. It's giving me a pairing request. I just paired it, and that was a success. It looks like it's easy to use, which I'm very happy about. There are some menu options that are different from the standard camera app. So there are beauty filters as well, gesture controls, face tracking and object tracking, which I think is very useful. More settings. We're going to shoot a little bit of footage using this gimbal, and then we're going to come back and we're going to see how it goes. All right, so now that we have our gimbal set up, let's go ahead and knock out some shots. I'm just going to jump into this as anyone would when they're first trying this out. We have the recording button right over here, so I'm going to hit that. One thing that I immediately notice as I'm holding this is that there's not as much grip on the bottom here. This is a zoom mode, so this allows you to zoom closer and further away. And I think that's a pretty handy feature. Okay, so we just wrapped up the field test with this camera gimbal combo. Obviously, there's a reason why some gimbals are more expensive. In fact, even in the smartphone category, DJI has some other options that are pricier than this. This just so happens to come at a price that is very, very hard to compete with. There are some caveats though. With this phone and with how heavy it is by comparison to the gimbal, I think people with the larger Pro Max devices or the Ultra devices, if you're a Galaxy user, because of the weight of the device and how wide the ultra wide lenses are, I think you'll have some difficulties with the balancing. Another thing that I noticed is that the gimbal motors aren't as strong as what you might be used to with a more expensive gimbal. So your shots may not be as smooth as they typically would be. Would I recommend this? If you are just beginning in social media and you need something to help you get those standard shots when you're at listings, I would actually give this a passing grade. It is very affordable. And if you're just starting out, like I mentioned earlier, I don't think that there are other gimbals in this price range that you could get for this quality. It has a plethora of other software features, but as far as its basic job as a stabilizer, I'd give it a passing grade. Now that we found a good gimbal, the next step is learning how to use it. I put together a simple step-by-step guide that will teach you the most important movements you'll need to film real estate. This is designed to be simple, easy to follow, and it is tailored for real estate professionals. You can find all the information down in the description below. Happy filming.